after the last American planes took off from Afghanistan, marking the end of the United States' nearly two-decade-long war. The Taliban quickly took back control of the country, following a chaotic and much criticized American withdrawal. That left more than a dozen American service members dead and left behind many more Afghan contractors who risked their lives to help the U.S. The decisions that led to the fraught exit and the state of Afghanistan today is the focus of a new three-part docuseries from Frontline, featuring interviews with both U.S. and Taliban officials.
Why should the United States trust you?
موږ متحده ایالاتو سره د شل کال جنگ کړی او دا موږ ثابته کړی چې موږ څه وایو هغه کوو او دوی باید دا مورد درک کړي.
I have come to Afghanistan to meet and interview numerous Taliban officials. Many have never spoken before. This is the story of how they won the war.
دا ساحه ټول جنگ ساحه د منطقو کې هغوی به هوایي بریدونه کول مجاهدین به څومره شهیدانېدل خو دوی به په شهادتونو باندې مجاهدینو کې کوم مشکل نه راپېښېده او راوتي د شهادت په تمناسب.
The series is called America and the Taliban. I'm now joined by the interviewer we just saw in that clip, Martin Smith, the series correspondent, producer and director. Martin, welcome. Congratulations. What an extraordinary docuseries. I was both saddened and thrilled to watch it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. And yes, it's a very sad story. Can't get around that.
When was the first time that you were in Afghanistan?
Let's see. Right after 9/11, I went into the Pakistan tribal areas just over the border from Afghanistan. Didn't go into Afghanistan on that trip, and I think then, like the rest of America, I got distracted by Iraq for a few years. Then I was back in there in 05, 06, and then again in 09 and 10, 11. So more trips than I can remember or want to remember, frankly.
And when you
but I do have a certain love for the country.
Yeah, that's evident, and it's also clear in the amount of trust that you were able to build up with your subjects in Afghanistan. When you returned this time, how would you portray what's happening there in terms of what you may have had for expectations at the beginning of the war? Is it, it seems a lot of the folks you talk to are the jaded sort of, well, here we are, things are still terrible, except instead of the Americans, we've got the Taliban or the Taliban again. What was your experience of where they are now?
The first question I asked after landing and was on my way to my hotel, I asked the driver and fixer that was with me, I said, so how do people feel about what's going on here? And they said, well, look, they're happy the war is over and they have more security. They're very uncertain about the Taliban. They're uncertain where the red lines are, and they're uncertain about the future. And many of them really dislike the Taliban, and they let you know that. So it's a mixed bag. It's peaceful, but it's uncertain and unclear.
How were you able to build the trust that you did, both with the Taliban in terms of negotiating where you were going to go and who you were going to talk to, and also with the people who live there? In one episode, you actually talked to someone who you talked to years ago in the exact same spot that you talked to him years ago. Is that a general feeling of trust that folks are having, or what did you do to build that?
Well, you'd have to ask them what I did to build their trust in us. But, you know, I've been going back and forth. I have a certain amount of knowledge about Afghanistan, and that counts for something if you're asking questions that make sense to people. You know, I would say by and large, especially the officials, the top officials that we spoke to, were very pleased to gloat about their victory. Understandably, they beat yet again a superpower. First the British twice, the Russians once, and us now. So they were happy to have us into their offices to talk about what they'd accomplished. It's human nature.
As we mentioned, it's a three-part series. In the first part, which is airing now, you go back and take a look at the sort of the origins, not the all the way to the back origin stories of Afghanistan, but the most recent era origin story, and also what happened after America entered the picture this time round. I'm going to show a clip from the series talking about the decisions that the U.S. and UN leaders made to not include the Taliban officials in the decisions about the future of the country.
In my own post-mortem of why didn't things turn out better in Afghanistan, one of the questions that lingers, that hangs over this, is why we did not actually try to incorporate the Taliban into the new Afghanistan.
In the 20-year history of this war, if there was an opportunity to prevent the Taliban's insurgency from gathering force and disrupting the American and NATO project in Afghanistan, that was probably the moment.
Martin, you do make the point as well, or it gets made in the docuseries. We were also very fresh from the 9/11 attacks. Is that hindsight just the gift of hindsight, or was there really a botched effort there in not inviting the Taliban to the table?
You're absolutely right that we were running on high emotion after 9/11 with the attacks in New York and Washington, and it made sense to almost everybody that we should go in there and with guns blazing and take out the Taliban, who had given sanctuary. Let's be clear, the Taliban there were no Afghans on the planes on 9/11. And there was no evidence that they helped plan those attacks. But they had given sanctuary to Osama bin Laden, and he was already someone who was attacking the U.S., notably in East Africa and in Yemen. So the idea of having them at the table was anathema to many people in the government. But on the other hand, there were some that thought, well, it is customary after a war to invite the vanquished to sit down at the table and have a role. And, the Taliban wanted to have a role. They wanted to be heard. They've now gotten that role. It's just not the role that we imagined.
I want to now play a clip talking about the challenges that are happening now when it comes to who are the people targeted.
One thing I'm not agree, that the target was the civilian.
September 5th, 2019, Taliban car bomb in Kabul kills 10 Afghan civilians. Another car bombing outside an Afghan military base in Pul-e-Alam, Logar province, kills 4 Afghans. In the span of a week, 24 Americans are killed, 107 Afghan civilians.
But who is the target there?
Well, if you go into a marketplace because there's a couple of soldiers and you set off a car bomb, it's going to kill women and children and innocent civilians.
This was fighting.
What did you learn about where the priorities are for folks who are in danger?
Well, as you see, as he points out, this was fighting. In other words, they didn't care to hide the fact that many innocent civilians were going to be killed. It was a Taliban tactic to use suicide bombs, and some of them quite large, truck bombs that could destroy whole buildings or whole, half of a village. And it took out a lot of innocent people. And they were quite, seemingly comfortable with that.
One of the things that folks have paid a lot of attention to, rightly so, is the status of women and girls in Afghanistan, and also the challenges of the daily living of food and safety, water. What's the status right now for just the everyday person who lives there, and the status of women?
Well, the situation with women, as it's pretty well reported, is that girls past puberty are not allowed to go into school. So past the 6th grade, basically, there is no education for girls and no education for young women in universities. Women are supposed to not go outside without a male escort. They're supposed to wear a full burqa, the blue full covering. Now, they don't all obey that. And in the cities, you see women who are in defiance of those rules. And they aren't generally arrested, but they can be, and sometimes are. So that's a pretty grim situation. As far as lack of food and water, those things are conditions that have plagued Afghanistan for decades. And even under the American occupation, there were clinics that were serving malnourished children. It's gotten worse under the Taliban. And the Taliban told me that that was a matter that God had to solve, and that they didn't really care about those things. It was and that's not all the Taliban feeling that way, but that was one governor in Helmand province who told me, when I asked him about the lack of work, the lack of health care, and women complaining, he said, well, we don't care about those things.
Yeah, there's something to be said for the transparency and honest answers to questions that you have been getting from the Taliban leaders there. I can't recommend it enough, Martin Smith. America and the Taliban. It's a 3-part series. Frontline, of course, extraordinary work. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.